Unaendelea kutazama Citizen Town Hall kutoka Sebastia Karen, na kabla ya kwenda mapumzikoni nilikuwa nimekueleza kuwa tutampatia nafasi mwakilishi kutoka muungano wa walimu humu nchini KNUT Bwana Peter Amunga aweze tu kutueleza zaidi kuhusiana na kauli yake kuwa kuna baadhi ya watoto ambao wanawalaumu walimu kwa matendo ambayo hawajafanya. Bwana Amunga.
Naam, nashukuru sana. Nasema hivi, the Kenyan society has been kind of tuned to believe that to concentrate on the discipline of the teachers at the expense of the discipline of the student. We look at things like what we have in schools now called TPADs, whereby a student in class is monitoring a teacher. Unapata mwanafunzi yako pale nyuma ndio class monitor ama class prefect, na kazi yake ni kuangalia vile mwalimu ameingia darasani, vile amevaa, moods ya huyo mwalimu. So we have been put as teachers in a very funny corner whereby we are like under a microscope and everybody's focusing on the teacher and doesn't see the problem that may be even the society. And that's why you are hearing this kind of thing whereby we are talking about the issue of 2% of teachers are the ones who caused, as the TSC secretary said, caused the pregnancies. Now, these were not even proven cases. So we are saying as teachers... You are
disputing the TSC data?
We, of course, the TSC secretary, she did not even name the teachers.
No, there's a list.
The list didn't come out. The list didn't come out.
The names of the offenders are there, sir.
Okay, fine, but we want to say like this. We can't go by just rumors and hearsay. We are saying, as a union, let the Teachers Service Commission give facts, give points. And as my colleague Akello Misori has just put it, we can't go by people giving names and somebody just claiming that a teacher has pregnanted 12 children. Some of these things are not true. And I want to tell Kenyans the truth. The other day in Nakuru, a teacher was killed by students. A teacher was killed in Hopewell Secondary School by students. The teacher took the mobile phone from a student, and the students were laid the teacher and killed the teacher. If students can plan to kill a teacher, what else can they do? And I want to return this back to the chairman of the Parents Association, Mayo, and his team who are here today. Most of them have abdicated their roles. They've turned teachers into their house girls and maids, such that teachers should be taking care of their children. And we are saying this as the Kenya National Union of Teachers.
Your final thoughts, please.
They are saying, allow teachers to be teachers. Teachers go to school to teach. They don't go to school to coach hockey, to coach to BCU patrons. Let the chairman of NCCK, let them do their work. Let those who can do guiding and counseling schools do their work. Teachers go to teach. We teach and we go back home.
Thank you.
The other things can be done by other people, not teachers.
In fact, my friend Bwana Amunga, as parents, we entrusted you with our children. In fact, most of the time, you spend more time with our children than us parents. The first thing, your friend, my friend also, Sosion, is very vocal advocating for the welfare of teachers, leaving out the welfare of our children. If it were not for our children, you people would not be at work. So it's us who are producing children to make you work. You are the employers. So I want TSC to produce and make it public the data of teachers who actually raped our children and impregnated them. I should say, because these children are minors.
Okay, hold on. We'll need another reaction.
No. Because they are minors.
Yes, please.
How can you impregnate a minor?
Fair enough.
That was raping.
Na Wahiga kidogo inaonekana kama kuna kulaumiana sana. Wacha tumsikize Pastor Patrick Lumumba aweze kutueleza maoni yake ni yepi kuhusiana na hili.
Basi asante sana. Mimi naitwa Pastor Patrick Lumumba, also the National Parents Association board member in charge of Nairobi County. I have a little bit a little bit different. I do not want these blame games. We have the KNUT here, and we have the parents on the other side. It is true that we parents, we have our roles to play. And we have to teach our children the moral life in how they can live. And we know that we have done it, though not up to 100%. We also know that there is an effect after early pregnancy that leads even to death of our children. And this one now goes back to our teachers. The fact that some of our parents have not given proper teaching of their children, does that allow the teacher that we entrust with our children to pregnate our children?
Thank you, Pastor Lumumba. Wahiga.
All right, let's get a quick reaction. Beatrice, let me start with you.
Granted, there are students of bad behavior. However, I would like to remind us that sexual violence is mostly an offense that is perpetrated in the private space. Therefore, this business of saying students are falsely accusing teachers perpetuates the stigma and prevents students from reporting when that happens to them. The level of evidence you require is that you want a witness, but a teacher did this after hours, probably in their house, probably in their staff room when there was no one else there. Where will the student get a witness?
Okay. Good reaction, Miriam. Daktari, I'll come to you in just a bit. Mashima, next question.
Na kuna lingine hapa kutoka kwa Kweyu, nadhani ni kwa Fida na crew. Kweyu, simama tafadhali, nitakushikia.
Kwa majina naitwa Kweyu Isaka. Na ningependa kuuliza hivi, kando na kuweza kushughulikia kesi za unajisi kwa wanafunzi, je, haya mashirika na hii miungano yenu inafanya kazi ipi kuelekea kuwafunza wanafunzi kuhusu mambo ya ngono?
What are your bodies doing to teach students sex education in a nutshell? Have I got that right, Mashirima?
Yes,
I have.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Before I answer that, I want to go back to the NUT.
Okay.
And where the good sir started saying that now it's the children with bad behavior. That is a narrative we have seen of blaming the victim. And that's where he has just gone, where he has taken the child who is the victim and now he wants to blame the blame on the child. The victim should never be blamed. Nobody has any excuse of abusing a child. On what we are doing as FIDA, we educate the public. Every forum we get, we have programs where we train what we call paralegals. We work with a community-based organization to take the message of how to prevent and to protect children from violence.
Okay. All right. Next question.
Na kuna swali lingine hapa lilikuwa limewasha moto kidogo, labda utaniruhusu tunaweza kupita hapa, kuhusiana na umri ambao tunawaruhusu watoto waweze kushiriki masuala ya ngono. George Bush, simama kidogo.
My question is directed to the entire panel. I am just concerned that from time immemorial the society is consumed and exhausted with discussing issues of teenage pregnancies. Now, why can't we consider lowering the age of consent, probably from where it is at 18 to around 10 or 11 or 12, so that the problem is eliminated for good, so that we can move from discussing consensual sex, which is with persons of 10 and 11, to rape. There's a very big difference. No. So when you move from consensual sex to rape, then I think we'll be making strides. So the age of consent here.
Nadhani hilo ni swali ambalo wengine watauliza George Bush na nia gani na watoto.
I'm not sure that's a question that we should get into, but I don't know if anyone wants to briefly react to that.
I think
Daktari, go ahead.
I think it is it's an interesting view. I mean, he's saying let's allow let's permit children to indulge in sex.
I'm not sure which countries we have seen that working, but go ahead.
You see, it's a very difficult thing because you lower that age and you allow them to indulge in sex, but yet there are other laws globally that do not allow children. Even you cannot allow a child to sign for a CS if she is pregnant and she is not 18 years old. So somebody else has to come and sign for her to undergo surgery to get the baby out because she's struggling to give birth. So I think that's a very difficult place to go because the children have not formed properly. They might look like they have matured sexually, but their bodies, their minds, and their formation is not yet. And so I do not think that that's a place to go. I think the place to begin is to say, what is the problem? Why are we having such huge numbers of children becoming pregnant.
At least 13,000 in Kilifi, for example.
Yes. I mean, about 370-something thousand children were reported in the last 1 year. And so begin to ask, what's the problem? One is school dropout. How many of our teenagers and girls are dropping out of school and they're not able to stay in school until they are age 18 to be able to mature up and keep them away from predators? And most of those, the predators are not teachers. They may be other people within the family and the society. Mm-hmm. But perhaps also thinking about what is it that we are doing in rites of passage. Do we have rites of passage programs that help our children realize that there are certain things that you do at certain age? Perhaps beginning to imagine that a few churches in the Christian faith have begun to train our teenagers in rites of passage. But our communities around this country had very elaborate rites of passage. Is there a problem around that matter? But then finally, to also say, what is it that teachers get in training when they are selected to become teachers and they go to training? Are there programs? Is there curriculum to support teachers to be able to be sensitive to the needs of our children?
Okay.
Yes.
That's a good place to leave it. Akelo, I'll give you a chance to respond shortly. And of course, an unthinkable question, but you've put some good perspective to it. Mashirima.
Na Monica, kabla kuendelea, kuna jambo ambalo Daktari Makanda hapo amelitaja kuhusiana na kuwafunza walimu. Rwanda mwaka 2016 iliweza kuanzisha mpango kama huo ambapo waliweza kuwafunza maelfu ya walimu na walimu wakuu kuhusiana na jinsi ya kutoa mafunzo kuhusiana na masuala ya ngono. Sijui kama Bwana Akelo Misori anaweza kujibu kama kuna mpango wote kama huo ambao umefanyika hapa Kenya.
I think earlier on when I started, I did indicate that there are yawning gaps in teachers' preparedness to the profession itself. But I want also to address myself to what my friend has indicated there, that we need to legalize the age and lower it to about 10 so that we remove the whole issue. That is bringing anarchy. If we make this country to be a legal country, then we are going to lose it, especially in passing out values. So in my view, I think it is now urgent, because it has become an issue. We are now debating it, that the teacher preparedness must have a strong component of values.
Are you pushing for that?
We are already pushing for that, because we are now at the reform stage.
Okay.
And the idea that teachers must be competent enough to address the challenges of the 21st century. Because sometimes back, these issues were not there because teachers were few, students were not as many. The society had not opened up to this permissive nature where people want to legalize sex, and they are transacting it becomes normal, so that we are a society which is propagating just sex because it is something which we must do. I think that is where we miss it, and this is what must be carried forward.
Okay.
That teaming up with the religious groups and with the Center for Development of Curriculum, and preparing the teachers' curriculum also for the preparation for the profession.
Okay.
This is a debate which needs to be given a lot of importance.
And which we are having right now. Mashirima, let's get the next question.
Kangwana ana swali kuhusiana na hatua zinazochukuliwa dhidi ya wale ambao wanawapachika mimba watoto. Simama tafadhali.
Swali langu lilikuwa nilielekeza kwa FIDA na muungano wa wazazi. Kuna mswada ulikuwa umepelekwa bunge, sijui kama ulianguka ama hukuanguka na umefika wapi. Ulikuwa unasema wale rapist, juu kama unashika mtoto mdogo we ni rapist kwa lugha ya kikawaida. Wanasema watoto wamefaa vibaya, lakini utapata hata huyu mtu anarepu hata mama mzee. Mama mzee amefaa vibaya vipi? So kuna njia wanaweza dungwa hata sindano. Juu kama huyo mwenye amerepu watoto wanafunzi kadhaa hata kama 10. Unaona hiyo ni tabia yake. Ameonekana kwa sababu amerepu wengi. Kuna wale wanarepu wawili watatu. So kuna vile tunaweza wadunga sindano, msaada upitiwe, ndio at least waone hiyo penalty ni kali sana, wasiendelee. Juu a criminal is a criminal, can do anything. We are not safe. Anaweza kufanyia hata mimi, naweza fikiria mimi ni mwanaume, lakini anaweza nifanyia madhambi. So kuna mswada unaweza at least afanye, wajue kuna penalty kali inaweza fanywa, utaogopa. Asante.
Okay. Bwana Mayo, hatujasikia sauti yako. Please come in, and is there something like that?
Nadhani kabla Bwana Mayo, labda mwakilishi kutoka FIDA anaweza kujibu hilo swali ndio tuweze kuendelea.
For now, we have very good laws on sexual offenses. We have the Sexual Offences Act, and what it provides is that if you defile a child or you rape, in the common language, you rape, which is defile a child, there are age gaps. There are age gaps that it looks at. If it's a child beyond 11 years, it's imprisonment. There is no negotiation about that. If it's a child between 11 and 15, it's 20 years. If it's between 15 and 18, it's about 15 years. And there is no negotiation about that. And that was an appeal that was done to our penal code because we thought it was not stiff enough. So I think he has some point in a way, because even after making it so stringent, having compulsory imprisonment, is still not working. Maybe we need to think as a country then, what will work?
Okay. Beatrice, just a quick question for you before Mayo comes in. I want to get your perspective on this. When someone gives an example, even here, about sex or something of the sort, and a few people actually laugh about it, what does that tell you about perceptions towards sex today, even in Kenya? What do you think? What comes to your mind?
For me, I am very sad to hear people laugh about such a matter because it is serious, but it shows how, as a society, we have permitted this thing, normalized it, and not taken it with the seriousness it deserves. When we laugh about sexual violence against underage children, it means society has become very pervasive and permissive of these issues. That is why we are not believing students who are claiming to have been violated. That is why we glorify sexual harassment perpetuated by teachers or people in places of authority, because we are normalizing it as a society. And it works totally against the victims because it perpetuates the myths and misconceptions around gender inequality and power imbalances, and it is just a sad situation.
That's an important point that needs to come out, Mashirima.
Utageuka tu hivi.
Yeah, on our part as parents, actually we have developed two manuals. One is training manuals, and secondly is empowerment and engagement manual. That is to empower our parents and train them on such issues of sexuality, because we know generation has changed. In the yesteryears, sensitive issues like sexuality and morals belong to the grandparents, but nowadays it belongs to the social media. That is why we have come up with these two main manuals, and we want to train these parents. Why? We want to ask them to give 100 shillings to the Parents Association. Other money, will create a department for prosecution. We'll prosecute teachers who rape our children. We prosecute teachers who don't know that these children are minors. Because as parents, we feel pain. We use our resources. We use our time to educate our children, hoping that they will have a good life in the coming years, only to be raped by these teachers.
Okay, although it's also not fair to point to one person. He does, he's here as a representative, not on behalf of those who carried out those acts. Brief response, please.
Yes, please. I want to say something about Kenya National Union of Teachers. The Kenya National Union of Teachers has a desk. It's called School-Related Gender-Based Violence. And this desk deals with what my brother Mayo is talking about. It actually educates during AGMs and meetings and trainings for teachers. Teachers are able to be told about issues like sexuality, and not just violence against the children. School-based violence is also violence against teachers. I don't know if parents and the poor are seated here know that also teachers face violence in those schools. And teachers are also people who are actually passing through some of those problems. When my brother Mayo says that they'll prosecute teachers, teachers will also prosecute parents who are also not doing their role, who have abdicated their roles and left their roles to teachers. But I want to say this: pedophiles are not teachers.
Yes.
Pedophiles are people living among teachers. They also live among the clergy. They also live among the media. They also live among the medical fraternity. They could even be in your house. They could even be your son and your daughter. Pedophiles, teachers are professionals. Teachers know what took them to school. They know they were trained very properly. So when you see a teacher doing such an act, don't look at the entire teaching fraternity. It may be just one person who is a rotten egg. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you for that comment.